The topic for today is Once in a Lifetime, a single favorite film in 100 years of Indian cinema. So that's today's topic. There's a lot of emphasis on 100 years of cinema because, as you all know, we have flagged off this edition of the festival has flagged off the 100 years of cinema centenary celebrations. I call it Celebration of Indian Cinema primarily because I don't think anybody would perhaps be able to curate the milestones in Indian cinema. So it's so vast. You know, it's so huge over 100 years. So we are calling it a celebration of Indian cinema. And there's been a lot of emphasis on 100 years, which we are flagging off this edition. And therefore, the 100 years is creeping in at this Chai and Sat session today. I would quickly open the session with Mr. Suresh Jindal on the extreme left. I would request you, sir, to give us your single favorite film in 100 years. So let each one of them speak very briefly, and then we could bring in the chat session. I have a lot of great friends sitting behind. Thank you so much for being here, Girish. Thank you. All of you. Sushil, both you also.
Well, I kind of find the question very, very daunting actually, because it's very difficult for me to single out one film that I would say is above anything else. A, because as a filmmaker, I don't like to sit in judgment of anybody's work because, you know, it's a difficult job to do. And also because, you see, in cinema, we have many, many genres of cinema. You know, there's the romantic cinema, there's the musical cinema, there's the gangster movies, etc. So I really enjoy, even though I make a sort of so-called art film, I really enjoy all genres of cinema. So I think that I find it really difficult to single out one film.
I would like to congratulate for this informalization of Chai and Chat. And I'm going to perhaps repeat what everyone would say, how difficult it is to mention one film of 100 years. I think if this question would have been asked to me, say 40 years ago, I would have named a different film. 30 years ago, I would have named a different film. So since it is a chat session, please allow me to go little astray and mention 3 films which I would have named few years ago. One is Bandini by Bimal Roy. Another one is Sahib Bibi Aur Gulam by Guru Dutt, and Garm Hawa by Satyu.
I came here to listen to the selections, not to give my selection. In fact, it's a very unfair thing to ask one favorite film. I love Manal Das Ek Din Pradidin, Satyajit Ray's 2-3 films. Like Aparajito and Hrithik Roshan's Megha Ka Tara. The first half of Girish Kasaragodi's, I say first half of Girish Kasaragodi's film, The Shadow of the Dog. So I have too many likes, but if you press too much, I'll take one out. that it's unfair even to myself to just propose one, but then that is, if I have no other choice but to give one, I would say Aparajito.
Thank you. One of my, probably as a cinematographer turning into a film director, when it comes to a cinematographer, probably my nostalgia goes to my own films, like how I worked with Aravindan, like the film like Tambu. because it's a nostalgia for me also to pick up my best choice, Thampu. The reason for me is when the film was made during 76, the whole of crew, when we wanted to make that film, it was like, assembling from different parts, and we didn't know the stars. We don't know the people who are going to act in the film. It was all happened in 30 days of assembling in one places, like a circus people, circus tent. Everybody was coming from the second day onwards. And then the whole film really made into a kind of a tent and into a bigger atmosphere of many nostalgias putting together. And the film for me, which, without saying anything, the film contained lot of information emotionally, and the human being's mind, and the people's interactions with each other as someone else, not as a kind of a performer in that film, but even the general audience who are coming there to watch the circuses there, in the circus artist there.
Being the only person on the dais who is not really a filmmaker, I found it relatively easy to pick a film. I mean, all that I needed to do was kind of look back at my life as a cinephile, and see when doors to different layers of the art of cinema were open to me, and just look at the films which did that for me as an experience. And then I realized that I must really go back to the first film that kind of put the hooks of cinema into me. It was a film made in 1961, which I saw in 1977, Ganga Jamna. It's a film by Nitin Bose. Not many people knew in my city anything about Nitin Bose at that time. Ganga Jamna had been a fair box office hit in its own release time, and it was a re-release when I saw it. I was, I think, a 15-year-old boy in a small town, Chandigarh, seeing the film in a morning show in one of the theaters. But the way I could relate to this film, the way I could identify with Ganga, what was happening to him, a person who is caught in the vortex of a changing social milieu, who doesn't really want to be a bad person, but he is forced, doesn't want the same kind of a fate to go to his brother. I mean, the story, the dialogues of Wajahat Mirza, everything dug its hooks into me, and that was the first film I repeatedly watched every single day. It was there for a week, and I saw it every single day.